Hey, Adam from GamesFiends here, and I'm reviewing Hitman Absolution. Now, having been a loyal Hitman supporter since Silent Assassin 2 came out for the PlayStation 2, the latest title in this series from IO Interactive has been pretty much the only big name title I've had my eyes on this year. The last Hitman title, which was Blood Money, came out more or less at the launch of the Xbox 360, so a return to the franchise has been long overdue. Now, this may sound odd, but it's difficult to mention this game without drawing parallels to the badly executed Hitman film, in which there was a concerted attempt to show more depth and humanity to the cold as ice genetically engineered assassin. It never quite paid off, however, the film lacking any of the atmosphere that made the game so engrossing to play through. Absolution does try to inject more humanity and story into Agent 47, but it arguably does a much better job than the film ever did. The storyline focuses on Agent 47 protecting a young girl who has been subjected to the same cruel and twisted experimentations by the agency that he too endured. As a result of this, Agent 47 turns on his long-term employer and goes on the run, attempting to keep the girl safe whilst also going on the offensive against both the agency and those who attempt to kidnap the girl for financial gain. Previous Hitman titles have included an overarching storyline, but this has often been played out via mission briefing updates from 47's handler Diana Burnwood, and has felt somewhat secondary to the act of assassinating an objective. Absolution differs from previous titles as there is a greater emphasis on the story progression through cutscenes between missions and even during them. The levels are significantly more interconnected than the previous games. In previous titles you would go from one level straight over to the next, often in a different country and with a very different environment. However, Absolution does a good job of tying many of the levels together as a progressive sequence. One such mission involves you performing a simple hit on a would-be kidnapper in a hotel, but things take a turn for the worst and soon Agent 47 is running across rooftops, entering and escaping a block of flats before attempting an incredibly intense escape from a train platform. When you focus back on that entire mission, it has quite a sense of progression that makes the story entertaining to play through. As you narrow down on the main antagonists, newer threats and characters are added into the fold in a way that never feels clumsy. Double deals are made and the whole game carries a strong thriller vibe to the story that does sometimes stray a little too far into the grindhouse genre than previous Hitman titles have done, and I include in that the meatpacking factory from Blood Money as an example. Nowhere is this more apparent than the focus on black humour that is prevalent throughout the game, such as being able to throw a man out of the window who has just received a call confirming that he doesn't have cancer. On the whole, Absolution's stronger focus on narrative and story is competently executed, but may be an unwelcome addition for those who are looking for more of the open box sandbox assassination levels that previous titles have offered up. Going into the gameplay, and my biggest gripe of all, this may sound really silly, is that the first person camera has been removed for this title. One of the things I loved about the Hitman games was that not only could you play it as a stealth game or an action game, or both, but also as a third person game or a first person game. The latter being particularly useful and enjoyable when your cover had been blown and you had no choice but to shoot your way out of a level. This has been removed from Absolution and I'm not entirely sure why they felt the need to do so. It may have been so they could implement a cover-based shooting hiding system, which is perfectly functional, but it does mean that you'll often sneak your way around a level in hiding rather than relying on your disguise and behaviour to blend in. So let's go back to that, because another change is that people dressed in the same clothing as you, such as guards, chef or staff, are a little more alert to a strange bold man walking around than in previous games. This adds to the realism and ramps up the tension and difficulty even more. Balancing this out is the newly implemented instinct feature, which allows you to blend in and act naturally when nearing those who find you highly suspicious. This can be used to highlight important items in the world and to predict the path of patrolling enemies. As a long-standing veteran of the Hitman series, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I refused to use it, and I found that I was still able to employ a variety of different methods to get around the levels undetected. It did mean that I had to spend a bit more time hiding behind objects rather than casually strolling through a level in disguise, which always gave you that sense of being a truly professional badass hitman. My favourite playing style during any first run through on any Hitman game is the reactive one. Attempt to stealth my way through a level, but if I get collared and found out, then the guns come out and I go loud. Happily, the shooting mechanics in Hitman are solid and enjoyable. One particularly brutal firefight took a good 10 minutes before I'd cleared the level, and enemies will both attempt to rush and flank you as well as holding back in cover far away, which forces you out to go deal with them. Hand-to-hand combat takes the form of quick-time button presses, which can help you deal with the odd isolated guard rather than causing an unnecessarily loud ruckus. If you've caused guards to become alert, then it's rather refreshing that they continue to remain in a slightly more cautious and alert state, rather than pretending that everything is okay and going back to their same predictable patrolling patterns. As with every Hitman game, the excellence comes in the way IO Interactive have carved out the levels for you to ply your trade. The atmosphere is rich and the world detailed through both the variety of settings that you'll progress through and the NPCs and their conversations with each other. An example already mentioned is the unnerving end of level sequence, which sees you making your way through a bustling train platform, with police officers searching the area attempting to locate you. Complemented by a fantastic tremulation of violin strings in the score, it's in moments like these where Absolution delivers the tense and white-knuckle experience of being a man on the run. In other levels, you are part of the noise and bustling scenery as you make your way towards your quarry. Your executions can either be open and bullish, or made to look like an accident, which leaves the surrounding NPCs confused and distraught, but never suspicious. The Contracts mode offers a really interesting alternative to the normal attempt for a developer to shoehorn in an online mode. From here you are able to replay any level, mark out any character for execution and dispatch them however you want. You can then upload and share these missions online, as well as take on any that other players have created. This is a really interesting and unique concept, as essentially mastering the campaign doesn't mean that you can't revisit your favourite levels for additional challenges. It adds that extra layer of longevity to the game and is a refreshing way to implement a shared experience that doesn't involve a badly developed multiplayer function. Despite some questionable design choices, Hitman Absolution is a title that the true hardcore fans of the series can relish and enjoy. The fears about the series being dumbed down or made too action-orientated from the trailers is largely unfounded. The newer players can utilise the cover-based mechanics and instinct function to help them through some of the trickier parts of the game, however. The Hitman titles have always been at their most fun when you're given true freedom to perform your executions as you see fit, and Absolution doesn't stray from this model, although the progression of the storyline necessitates some slightly more hemmed-in level design than you would normally expect from this series. So, Hitman Absolution is another really strong installment to the franchise. It allows you to perfect the art of the kill before melting away into the background seamlessly as part of the crowd. It allows you to create chaos through the bluff of an accident. It allows you to rampage your way through the levels with solid and intense firefights. For continuing this unique blend of enjoyable and engrossing gameplay, it scores very highly in our books and gets a 9 out of 10. This is Adam from GamesFiends, and I'll see you all next time.
Hey, you! I know you. You're Foster, right?